you learned in school. Never mind what your parents told you, and disregard what your friends say. From now on, the only people you need to listen to are these guys. For the next several minutes, they'll take you on a journey through the political jungle. When your journey is over and you're safe at home, they promise you'll be stronger, smarter, and just plain better. So buckle up, hang on to your ears, because your journey starts now.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
Well, I could pay taxes. I could...
I used to think that was a fantastic comment, really patriotic, makes you feel good. But it's sort of communistic in status.
Slightly, which is a little ironic coming from the guy who hated the communists. Which makes sense because they're the ones that actually killed him, were the communists and the aliens and the CIA and the FBI and the mafia and George Bush.
Yeah. And don't forget Ted Cruz's dad.
That's right. Yeah, he was the most important one. He was a communist, though, so we already kind of covered him.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
You want to start listing all the individual communists?
No, you did.
Well, there's
That's what I'm
Bill and Ted and George and Benny and Georgette and Colleen and Ralphie.
Jesus.
And Big Bob and Little Bob.
And Vladimir.
Vladimir.
That's the only Russian name I could think of.
Vladimir. And really, it's Hungarian, so...
What's
the
difference?
Vlad the Impaler was the original Dracula.
It's Vlad, not Vladimir.
It's Vladimir von Buchenbach.
Right. Look, we have way more than we have time for.
Yeah, all right, so let's get to it. Let's say it's Thursday, June 2nd. My gosh, we are right in the left ventricle of the summer, right? 2016? We're in the Freedom, I don't know. We're in the Freedom Studios on the 15th floor of the Patriot Towers in Liberty City. Where at, Nathan?
Ohio.
We are in Ohio. And you can call us at 248-455-6337. Give us your comments. Bitch us out. Tell us how great we are. Tell us how we stink.
And please don't call, though, to correct Brian about being in the middle of summer. He hates being corrected. He knows that it's not summer yet.
I know. That's why we're in the left ventricle. We're not quite in
What does that mean?
I don't know what it meant. I was trying to... never mind. Okay. We could talk...
just jump into some election stuff because that's boring.
I think
so. It's good to start with that.
We're going to start with the boring, and we're going to build up to the climax, and then unfortunately we'll run out of time when we get to the good stuff, and we'll say
right,
good night.
Which is honestly what we do every week.
I know
you enjoy the show so much when you listen, but just keep in mind that that's not even the best stuff. We never get to the best stuff. We have so much potential.
I think you're elaborating.
Elaborating?
Well, maybe.
I don't think elaborating is the word you were looking for.
No, it wasn't. I think you are extrapolating.
No?
No, I think you were being optimistic on people enjoying our show.
I don't know about that.
We can, just for fun, we can start out with a soundbite with Obama, or we can do a soundbite with Trump. Let's do the campaign. We're going to talk about Trump, a little bit about Jan Johnson, Gary Johnson, and Hillary. So, what do you want to do? You're in control. Steve's out sick.
I think this is because we're going to have a soundbite of Trump and we're going to have a soundbite of Obama. I think we can start with Obama. This was, I believe, the soundbite that Trump criticized him for. Oh no, that was Hillary Clinton. Never mind. He criticized Hillary Clinton. He criticized Hillary for using a teleprompter. So I got it mixed up because when I think teleprompter, I think Obama. But actually, I think this is evidence of what you get when Obama does not use a teleprompter.
If we turn against each other based on divisions of race or religion, if we fall for, a bunch of okey doke, just because it sounds funny or the tweets are provocative, then we're not going to build on the progress that we started.
And what Ivy League school did he go to build up that kind of vocabulary?
Yeah,
and that kind of narrative?
Holy cow.
I was going to say Obama was at the Humane Society when he gave that speech, but I guess we can't.
Jeez, I think someone's breaking into the studio is what's actually happening.
Let's see.
Holy cow. Yeah, okey doke.
Okey doke.
So what I'm wondering, first of all, was that
it was recent?
Was that like in reference to the kind of vocabulary that he thinks the people he's talking about? Because he talked about people that are sitting in cars and bars and at the VFW. Right, he referenced those in the same speech. So is he saying okey doke because he thinks that's how these people, Trump supporters, talk?
I don't know.
They say okey doke and I a lot?
Maybe.
I mean, is that...
I think it speaks for itself.
Yeah, with no teleprompter, that's what you get.
Yeah. It's not easy being the
here's
Muslim president.
Yeah. Here's the other thing. I saw somebody wrote a book, and it was why the United States will never have an atheist president or something like that. And I thought about you when I saw the book.
Why would you think about me?
Because you're unsure of our president's...
religious affiliations?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So, anyway, Trump claimed he donated somewhere around $6 million to some veteran groups. It turns out that wasn't exactly true, so he's a horrible, horrible person, only donating $5.6 million. We talked about this last week, I think.
Yeah.
He got asked some questions about that, kind of responded to it. I think we'll play that because he kind of hit on one of the reporters, like in typical Trump fashion, right?
Well, I want to say something about the actual reporter that he is referring to is the same reporter that said that the woman that came out and claims that Bill Clinton raped her is lying and that it's a closed case and there's no evidence and she should just shut up.
Mm-hmm. So
where
you're saying...
if it had been anybody else and they were the rape victim, the liberal left would be all for...
Yeah, absolutely.
The person that got raped and vilified whoever was accused.
Whether it was true or not, right?
Like Bill Cosby or somebody.
Yeah, and Hillary Clinton herself likes to make statements that everybody that claims rape needs to be listened to.
It's funny you should say Hillary Clinton because apparently she's the one that kind of squashed all these girls that came up with these accusations.
Sure. Of course.
So he is kind of what Trump said he is.
Yeah,
maybe.
Okay.
Well, the veterans believe me. Let me tell you the veterans why they believe. And I have one group was here that I could have asked all these groups to come here, and they could have I didn't want to do that. I'm not looking for credit. But what I don't want is when I raise millions of dollars, have people say, like this sleazy guy right over here from ABC. He's a sleaze in my book. You're a sleaze because you know the facts, and you know the facts well. Go ahead. Thank you, Mr. Trump.
So we edited this a little bit just for time, but this was, I think, a representative from one of the groups,
right,
or something. Also, a state rep from whichever
Hampshire.
state I think he's going to say. But he kind of hits the nail on the head
about the media in particular.
Yeah.
I think.
First of all, for the record, I'm a state representative from New Hampshire. 10 years on the Veterans Affairs Committee, 22 years in the Marine Corps, retired first sergeant. What I want to clarify here, first of all, I would never, ever in a million years put my name on a candidate that did not, from his heart, look me in the eye and tell me he's concerned about veterans. That's Donald Trump. I met him over a year ago. I've been involved with many fundraisers. There are many scam artists out there. He did the right thing by vetting these groups there. If you look at some of the groups that are giving 20 cents, 40 cents on the dollar, and they're spending the rest for, their, nice lavish trips. He gave 100%. The liberal media is the only ones that have been calling me on the foundation. All right, I'm the former chairman. I've been dealing with this stuff for years as a veterans activist. Stop using veterans as political pawns. You got a guy outside McCoy. Go do a Google search on his Facebook. He's out there. His pictures with Clinton. They are using veterans as political pawns. It must stop. Donald Trump is doing this for the heart. You're all focused on the way he's raising money, and you're not looking at the 22 veterans that are killing each other every day. You're not concerned about the thousands of veterans that are on wait lists. Look at his plan on his Trump's website. He talks about medical cards. He talks about fixing the VA. He talks about competition. I think the liberal media, and I've been dealing with you a long time, you need to get your head out of your butt, focus on the real issues. Thank you.
Do you think he was passionate about that?
No. You don't want to see him when he gets passionate about something.
You don't want to see me when I get passionate. Yeah, he kind of hits the nail on the head. And speaking of, the liberal left and the Democrats using veterans, there was a picture of Hillary in a Memorial Day parade, and in the background is some guy dressed in a naval uniform, right? Dress white. Mm-hmm. With a tilted hat. The medals were on wrong. He's wearing sunglasses. And he's walking behind her, obviously not a real naval person. Yeah. So the media, or at least the right-winged, are saying, well, they probably hired somebody. Maybe not. I don't know that you can go that far that it was meditated to be there. But he was certainly allowed to be there. And what some military people pointed out is that if you are active military, you can't wear your uniform if you're supporting a political candidate. So if he was really active, now I suppose he could be retired, but his medals were put on all haphazard, and it just didn't look right. Yeah. And like his hat was tilted off to the side. He looked like a drunken sea captain.
Well,
he's an admiral.
So you think it's a case of stolen valor? Is that what you're saying? Should he be prosecuted?
No, because stolen valor is only when you profit from it. You can dress up like anybody's uniform.
The check that the Clinton campaign gave him afterwards.
Only
sounds
if he
like profit.
Yeah, but only if he were being paid as an actual legitimate. I mean, lots of actors wear military uniforms, and they get paid for wearing that uniform. So
it's only if you try to defraud people, right?
I think it's if you present yourself as a legitimate veteran or active
walking in a Memorial Day parade.
Well, there's nothing stopping me from dressing up in any kind of uniform and walking in a memorial.
There's a couple things stopping you.
Well, yeah, they don't come in my size, but that would be the major thing. But other than that, nothing stops me from doing that. It's only when I go to the crowds and say, "Give me money, I'm a veteran." Right? Would I be in trouble?
Like all the guys on the corner downtown with the signs,
if they're wearing uniforms.
So you can say you're a veteran and ask for money.
I think
you just can't look like one.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so police officers have more protection from being impersonated than veterans do.
No, you can dress up in police uniforms.
Yeah, but I can't say that I'm. Well, you can dress up in military uniforms.
Right, you just can't say you just can't say you're active. Right, or you're really a officer.
All right, let's move on. This is boring.
Yeah. All right. So, getting into the third candidate, because we're going to have Hillary, we're going to have Trump, and we're going to have Jan Janssen.
Yep, we are,
and
it's going to be great. It's going to be great.
I heard. Now, I don't know if it's been vetted or not, and some people are saying there were extenuating circumstances, but apparently at the convention, one of the runners-up, and I can't think of who it was now. Do you
Austin
remember?
Peterson.
Austin Peterson gave Gary Johnson a very nice replica of George Washington's flintlock.
Yep.
And the story goes that shortly after he got it, he was seen tossing it into the trash.
Yep.
And someone actually picked it out of the trash, had pictures on Twitter and all that of them with a gun, and then gave it back to, what's his face?
To Austin Peterson, yeah. And Peterson. From what I saw, that was all verified by a lot of people,
right?
That actually happened.
Now,
and then a little while later, supposedly, allegedly, somebody from the Gary Johnson campaign came and said, "Hey, yeah, this isn't looking good. We'll give you $500 if you give us the gun back."
Oh, I didn't hear that.
And they
part.
said, "No."
I had heard an apologist for Johnson was saying that, well, Peterson gave him the gun, but he was snarky about it and they were still bitter and were confrontational with each other, and that's why Johnson threw it away.
So here's my thing.
I doubt
I'm going to give you my take on this. I know this is rare that I give my opinion.
Yeah. I can't.
But
I can't wait.
If you, Brian, who are always snarky and always annoying to
Sarcastic
me,
and-
if you give me a gun, even if you're snarky about it, I'm going to keep it.
As a matter of fact, you are always asking if you can have my guns.
I know you don't have any, but I sometimes think you have some pretty cool ones.
If I had one.
Right.
And if one I recently acquired, an M1 carbine from World War II, if that were true,
It's not. But if it were,
you would ask me if you could shoot it.
yeah, that's true.
If I had it, I said, yes, let's go do that. And then I went and bought ammunition. I said, no, not at $1 a round.
yeah,
If I actually had that.
hypothetically,
Yeah.
yeah,
So, no, you're never going to shoot it unless
and neither are you.
Oh. But if I had that gun, it's really
Yeah.
kind of cool.
Yeah,
It's a nice shape.
I can shoot it once, right? Hypothetically.
Hypothetically, I might have a round in my pocket right now that I showed you hypothetically. During the Korean War, they said that the rounds after a couple hundred yards actually bounced off of the Chinese winter
Because
jackets
they're
and
wearing
stuff.
big snowsuits, nice North Face jackets.
They complained, and actually orders were issued to shoot for the head.
So maybe they weren't bouncing off. Maybe they were zombies, and that's a cover-up. Oh, it's the jackets. It's not the fact that they're actually undead.
You're not up with Game of Thrones, are you?
No, why would I be?
Maybe they were White Walkers.
I don't know what that is. But
I know.
Hey,
One person out here listening will know what that is.
so the other thing about Gary Johnson and libertarians and this whole deal, right? I will say most of the time I generally side with libertarian train of thought, right?
principles, and ideas, yeah.
But I completely think it's hilarious, this whole, we need to get rid of the two-party system by making it a three-party system because that's better, right? It's no different.
It's 1/3 better.
No, it's 50% better. It's
Oh.
1/2 better. You're horrible at math.
God, I hate math.
Wow. Okay. But what's really funny is like Gary Johnson.
Well, wait a minute. Isn't 50% better than 1/3?
Yes.
Okay,
But you were
so-
still wrong.
I know, but it's even better than
I'm
that.
just saying, you think you're a scientist, you're bad at math.
I am a scientist, and all science. Einstein wasn't good at math.
That's not true.
Well-
that's actually not true.
Yeah, I
he was
guess.
actually like a math prodigy from the time he was very young.
That's not true either. He had all kinds
No,
of
it is
issues.
true.
No.
He did not.
Yeah, he did.
Okay, I'm telling
Listen,
you.
he didn't
Look
know
it
how-
up. Look it up,
He
and I'm
never
saying don't
used-
just read Wikipedia about to figure it out.
Einstein never even used a handheld calculator ever.
What's your point? That's how dumb he was?
Yeah.
It could have been. Wait, imagine what he could have done if he had.
Oh my God. We'd be on Mars right now.
We'd be brains and vats.
Whoa.
By the way, I
Blew my hand.
think Elon Musk is correct.
No,
So
he's an idiot.
Just FYI. Is he?
Mm-hmm.
Is he really? Yeah. What is he? All he has is like.
We're 1 in billions chance that we're not a simulation.
Right.
Who cares?
Well, exactly. Who cares? But
It's a stupid argument.
we had the argument for several hours last week.
Yeah, I know. Not on the air, did we?
No, just for
yeah.
30 minutes or so. On
But pre-show.
what was I talking about? Oh, libertarians.
Yeah.
It's ironic and
It's
hilarious
not. It's not.
and hypocritical a little bit that they bitch at you if you vote for a Democrat or Republican because you're not, I'm going to vote based on principle, and I will never vote for anyone that's not 100% in line with my principles, right?
Who says that?
Lots of libertarians have said that. We know one. We have a mutual acquaintance that has said that.
Huh.
They say it all. You don't see this? Do you
No.
talk to people?
No, not if I can help it. No, God. No.
Anyway, but now that Gary Johnson is the nominee, I see everywhere people talking about, well, I can probably hold my nose and vote for Gary Johnson. Like, well, he's the best choice out of the choices we have. He's the lesser of three evils. And it's funny, right? Because it's exactly what a lot of them complain about, that you shouldn't vote for the Republican candidate just because he's better than the Democrat candidate. Well, I'd say you shouldn't vote for the Libertarian candidate just because he's a little better than the Republican and the Democrat candidate.
There is a certain retired professor of evolution and genetics from the University of Chicago who says that and he's a bleeding heart communist liberal. He says he cannot stand Hillary Clinton. He thinks she's dishonest, untrustworthy, but he's still going to vote for her.
Right.
Because he can't vote for Trump.
Yeah, sure.
Because Trump will destroy the world.
Sure. And I get that. And I mean, that's a whole movement, right? The never Trump thing.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
that's
my
a whole-
point, it's like what you're saying. I mean, here's
No.
a person that despises the candidate he's going to vote
Yeah.
for more than he despises, or less than he despises the other candidate.
Right.
Well, what the hell? I mean, I suppose that's always been a part of
Yeah,
politics. I mean, you're never going to find
And
everybody.
that's not exactly what I'm
100% sure
talking about. I'm talking about
it's
the
going to be in
hypocrisy.
line with what you want.
Yeah. I'm talking about the hypocrisy of several libertarians that I've heard in person talk about not voting for anybody unless they are completely aligned with you, but then always voting for the libertarian candidate no matter what they believe. Even if they
Don't agree with everything the Libertarian Party
point to an anti-gun vice president candidate. Right?
It's the vice president.
Yeah.
You have more power than he
Do you
does.
understand what Hillary Clinton did? Well, she wasn't ever vice president.
When she was vice president? Yeah, I don't. Tell me more.
Sorry, I get her and Joe Biden mixed up.
Easy to do.
It's the hair plugs.
It's the hair plugs. In the nose, I think. A little bit in the nose. Anyways, Joe Biden was a very handsome man in his youth. But then so was I, so there you go.
Yeah, right. Okay, so let's skip the one that's there, Brian, and go to the next one real quick before a break.
Okay, but I also want to talk about my experience with a fish hook through my finger.
Oh, do that right now.
Really?
Yep.
I didn't think you'd give me any time for that.
No,
I was out.
I've got 2 minutes.
I can't do it in 2 minutes. I was out fly fishing on our local lake, trying to catch some largemouth bass on a fly rod. May or may not have had a couple of cocktails. I don't remember. But
I remember. Would you like me to say whether you had?
Yeah.
You had.
Okay.
I wasn't there, but
no,
I got
yeah.
a message from you. I've been
Guess
drinking.
what happened?
Yeah.
And so
It was a very loud message.
And so, thank goodness, trout flies in general are fairly small. But somehow, I buried that sucker right in past the barb into my middle finger on my right hand, and
Yeah.
I'm looking at it.
Let me see.
Going, you see little black
Can't
dots
see
there.
anything.
Yeah, I know. Well, there's if you get close up.
Wow.
So, the tetanus is in
You
there.
get close up.
Get really close.
Okay.
Get a hand lens, you'll see it.
Were you using rusty hooks?
So no, well, they're pretty old hooks.
Okay.
Anytime you get a what do you call it? A puncture wound, you're supposed to get a tetanus shot. Anyways,
I don't think that's true.
that is kind of true.
It's
Yeah,
not
it's
true.
a rule of thumb. It's a rule of finger, middle finger. So there, I'm looking at this sucker and going, shoot, and I didn't say shoot. So this is the first time I've ever buried it past the barb, right?
Yeah.
And there's a reason the barb's on there.
So it doesn't come back out.
Yeah. So I said, hell with it. I'm going to pull it back out. It's like an arrow that goes in. They say it's better to push it through than to pull it back out.
You tried to pull it out?
Oh, I did. I said, I will tough it out, and I will pull that sucker out even if it rips it up, because I don't want to have to turn it over and push it through my finger again to get the barb exposed.
Right.
Actually put it in my teeth and was yanking on it. It hurt. And
Wow.
and so I'm going, wow, skin is really tough.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is.
And it's a tiny little barb. It's a tiny little hook. And the sucker wouldn't come out. So I said, I got to do it, right? So then I turn it over there, and it's like a Tremors movie where you can kind of see the little thing kind of sticking its head up.
Yeah.
If you put your tongue against your cheek and move it around,
Yeah, so
I could see it, and I could actually figure out where I wanted it to come through. So I placed it in there.
Half of our audience just passed out, by the way.
No.
Welcome to Medical Hour.
And so I said, all right, and this is small again. This is pretty small. And I'm working, left-handed kind of thing. And I push. Ow! Didn't come through. I pushed a little harder. Didn't come through.
Yeah.
I even think I tried 4 or 5 times before I finally just went,
that's even worse.
Sucker! And I just pushed that. And I swear to God, I heard it go pop.
Yeah, and then you realize you had your other finger over where it was
going.
going.
And that went in there past the barb. So now I got my middle finger and my index finger. No, that would be funny, though.
Yes, it was.
So now I got the barb out, and I'm going, all right, now we can get somewhere. So I thought, what the hell am I going to do now? Oh, yeah, I carry a pair of small pliers in my fly fishing vest.
Yeah.
So I reached that, and I looked at all the rust on that and said, that's not going to be very helpful. So I clamped it on there with the wire cutter part of the pliers, and I'm squeezing, and it's not cutting.
Yeah. You need to sharpen them a little bit.
So there was a guy that was fishing kind of next to me there, and he says, need any help? I said, well, yeah, I kind of do. So I got a fish hook in my finger, and he says, oh, been there, done that. I said, okay.
When I was 6.
So he comes over. He can't do it either. And I go, oh, man, what am I going to do? I'm thinking, well, I got to go to Ready Care, emergency or something, He goes, oh, I got a pair of pliers in my tackle box. I'll be right back. So he goes there and comes back.
I've got some bolt cutters.
So
we'll take the finger right off.
Yeah, that's what it would look like. So I'm holding that barb out and the hook up as high as I can, and he's trying to latch onto that. And I go, don't get my finger, right? Because that's all I needed was to slice off a hunk of my finger. He goes, you do it. So I placed it in there and squeezed it. Pop! Got it off. So I slipped the hook back out, and now it's bleeding really good. And I'm letting it bleed into the lake because that's good chum, right?
Yeah, sure. The sharks will get you.
Yeah, the sharks will come right up to you, and the freshwater sharks. And I'm laying it down there because I want to get the tetanus out of there. I want to get the tetanus out of there and the bacteria and all that in the fish scales and stuff. So I'm pushing all the blood out as much as I can. And I go, huh. And I looked at him. I said, you don't happen to have a Band-Aid, do you? He goes, no. He had a water bottle, though. I said, can I use your water bottle and kind of rinse it off?
And then you just took a drink, gave it back to him.
This isn't rum in here. So then I splashed all of the water and got the blood off.
You dumped it on and realized it was rum.
Yeah, it burned like a son of a gun. But that's good because that kills the germs.
Yeah, that'll get the tetanus out.
So now I'm like, so you don't have a Band-Aid. And I'm thinking, what am I going to do? Oh, I have a paper towel in my vest pocket. So I wrapped it up in that. I went home. I poured myself a drink. I stuck my finger in the drink with the alcohol.
Really?
Yeah. And I took a sip and then dunked and sipped and dunked. And that was last Saturday. And right now it's not infected.
You can't see anything.
I did.
I don't even believe you did it.
Yeah. I did email my doctor tonight. Oh. And I said, should I get a tetanus shot? And what are the risks if I don't? Because I've had shots, but it says if you haven't had one within 5 years, you should get one.
He said, how does your jaw feel?
She said nothing yet because she's not going to answer me until tomorrow.
Yeah.
But, my jaw's been hurting and kind of locking up on me.
Yeah.
My neck and back is really hurting.
Yeah. And
I'm getting tremors. So
I can't think of anything worse than if you got lockjaw and couldn't talk a lot.
That's a dream of a lot of people.
All right, we're going to take a break, so I want you to ask a trivia question, but ask a good one.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. This is not a presidential question so much as a presidential wife or first lady question. So which first lady held seances at the White House?
Ooh, I know the answer.
I know you do, and so did I.
All right, we'll be right back.
Lock it in. And rip the knob off. Red State Talk Radio.
My Parents Open Carry, a pro-gun kids book from White Feather Press. 13-year-old Brenna and her parents spend their day in typical fashion. But what's not so typical is that Brenna's parents lawfully open carry handguns for self-defense. And the Strongs join a growing number of families who are standing up for their Second Amendment right and bringing gun ownership out of the closet. Order your copy of this unique kids book at myparentsopencarry.com.
It's a bumpy ride through the political jungle with Nate and Brian.
Believe me, if I started murdering people, there'd be none of you left.
What? The following message contains a special offer for listeners of this station. Are you a man over 40? Are you constantly looking for the nearest bathroom? Do you wake up multiple times a night to use the bathroom? Right now, Perfect Prostate is sending out free bottles of their groundbreaking new formula to listeners of this station. Perfect Prostate formula was developed by medical doctor Mitchell Fleischer, and its ingredients have been clinically studied to reduce your frequent nighttime bathroom visits and promote healthy urine flow. Right now, preferred customers get their first bottle of Perfect Prostate absolutely free. There's nothing to lose. Perfect Prostate is guaranteed to reduce that constant urge to use the bathroom, especially at night, and promote healthy urine flow. Don't wait. Call now for your free bottle. Just pay shipping and processing. Dial 1-800-680-9903. That's 1-800-680-9903. Supplies are limited. One free bottle per household. Call now. Dial 1-800-680-9903. That's 1-800-680-9903.
Whenever I'm feeling a little down under, I can always count on Nate and Brian for their interesting perspective on topics important to freedom and civil rights by listening to the At Odds Show. Nate and Brian cover important topics with insight, intelligence, and of course humor. I can always expect a laugh or two. So if you want to be informed and have a great time, give these guys a listen.
At Odds.
Are you looking for some way cool t-shirts? Check out ChugDug.com. They have hundreds of crazy fun t-shirts like gun, patriotic, and you better believe zombie shirts. At ChugDug.com, you'll find quality shirts at a quality price. All shirts start at just $10 with free shipping over $50. Mention Radio 1 coupon code at checkout and grab a cool 10% off. That's ChugDug.com. T-shirts with attitude.
The At Odds Show with the greatest political talk show hosts in history, Nate and Brian. And it's sad that they actually believe that. So give a listen because the delusional need love too.
Here's George Foreman with InventHelp.
Hi, I'm George Foreman. Do you have an idea for a new product or invention? People ask me all the time, George, how do I get my idea in front of companies? How do I get a patent? What do I do next? Do you have the same questions? I'll tell you like I'll tell them all. Call my friends at InventHelp.
Call InventHelp today for free information. InventHelp has been helping inventors for more than 30 years and has sales offices nationwide. InventHelp can submit your invention to companies who are interested in receiving new ideas. If you have an idea and want to try to patent it and submit it to companies, you should call InventHelp today for free information.
Listen, I can't guarantee a company will be interested in your idea, but I believe every inventor deserves the opportunity to step into the ring and take their best shot. Put InventHelp in your corner.
To get your free inventor's information, call 1-800-353-4716. That's 1-800-353-4716. Again, 1-800-353-4716.
Good evening. When I'm not out sucking blood, I'm listening to the At Odds Show with Nate and Brian. Those two guys drive me batty. Batty, who writes this crap? Where's the writer? I want to suck his blood.
And welcome back to the Ed Odd Show. I'm Nate. That's Brian.
That's why my neck's is sore, because I wrote that crap.
Yeah.
He sucked my blood.
I don't understand. But okay.
That's what it was.
All right. So
he bit me in the neck. Which first lady held seances at the White House?
We had a couple guesses.
Yes. Who do we
One
have?
being Betty Ford.
Okay.
It was not Betty Ford. Betty Ford was much too
early, recent.
Well, no, I was thinking nice,
intelligent.
I can't think of the word.
Not crazy.
Like fancy. Yeah. What's the word? Yeah. And then
high class.
Yeah, that's sure. The other guess was Hillary. That's also not wrong. I don't think witches actually hold seances.
Probably not.
I'm not sure if they do though.
They do. They do. Not. They do eat little children and let people die in foreign countries.
It hurts.
The truth hurts. So, what were you? Come on, were you impressed that you knew that I knew that?
You didn't know it. You looked it up.
I did not look it up.
I was a little impressed, but
okay.
Given the fact that you know a lot of stupid crap that no one needs to know,
right?
Not too surprised.
All right. So this was Mary Todd Lincoln.
Yeah.
President Lincoln's wife. She was nuts, by the way.
Mrs. Lincoln.
She held seances because, why, Nate?
Well, her son got ran over by a train,
no.
according to you, which is the other fact that you knew.
I got that wrong.
Right.
He died of typhoid. But,
he was hit by a train, but it
Willie
didn't kill him.
Yeah, he bounced right off of that.
I don't know if that's true.
No, I don't think so.
They didn't have a lot of trains in the 1800s.
Little Willie died of typhoid, and it really devastated Abraham as well as his wife. And she held seances trying to communicate with her dead son.
She only got a hold of him twice.
Yep. And he said, Mom, can you come do my laundry? So,
right.
You know, that's what kids do.
And she did.
Yeah, she did. The wings are hard to get clean. The white wings, I mean, you got to brush those the right way and everything else.
Willie was a good kid.
He was a good kid.
All right, that's good.
All little good kids go to heaven, right?
That's dogs. You're thinking of dogs. Willie was not a dog. Although they did have a dog, I think.
Yeah, I think every president has a dog.
I think you have to.
Yeah. Even if you don't like dogs, which
right.
Some didn't. All right. Do you want to do this day in history?
No.
Okay. So in 1865, the American Civil War officially ends, which is odd because it's June 2nd, right?
So how fitting is our trivia question, given this day in history?
It's perfect. Huh. Well done. Which is odd because Robert E. Lee surrendered on April 9th.
The brother of George Ely.
I don't think so. At Appomattox Courthouse, right? There was a big battle there. He surrendered a couple of months early. But it was this event that is generally regarded as the end of the Civil War because Confederate General Edmund Kirby Smith, commander of the Confederate forces west of the Mississippi, because there's a lag time there, right? Because there's a time change. Because west of the Mississippi is a long ways away, and it's an hour or two Okay, takes time for things to get out there. Anyways, he surrenders under terms offered by Union negotiators. With Smith's surrender, the last Confederate Army ceased to exist, bringing a formal end to the bloodiest 4 years in U.S. history. So guess what? How many Confederate and Union soldiers were killed?
Total?
Yeah, it's the bloodiest war in the United States history.
Yeah,
obviously,
I mean,
because the enemy and the good guys, depending on your point of view and where you live.
Yeah, hundreds of thousands.
620,000 is the estimate.
Yeah. Holy cow.
Most died of disease. The microbe killed more than the mini ball.
And you... Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Actually, a bit of trivia is the Confederate... You know, a lot of times you got shot in the arm, they cut your arm off. You got shot in the leg, they cut your leg off, right? And you die from infection and stuff like that.
Sure.
Actually, the Confederate had a better survival rate because they couldn't get silk sewing thread for medical purposes, you know, for stitches and stuff like that. So they used horse hair. And what they had to do to get the horsehair loose enough to work with the needle, they had to boil it. Because when they boiled it, sanitized it.
Yeah.
And so they had a
That
better
makes
success
sense.
rate.
You know, the Civil War probably could have ended quite a bit sooner than it did if one of the generals had listened to Lincoln's order to attack.
Oh, yeah.
At one point. And
Gettysburg?
They ignored him. And
well, that
said,
was
"Nah,
McClellan.
We're not going to attack. I'm scared."
McClellan.
Yeah.
General McClellan
And,
was, he loved his army and didn't want it to get destroyed.
Yeah, and it didn't at that battle.
And he was replaced with General Grant.
Hmm.
General Grant says, I don't care if he drinks, that man fights. And he did fight.
Yep. So, okay, let's move on to something more recent.
Well, almost anything would be.
It's back in 1901. No, I'm kidding.
Where are we?
Nah, the
I've
gorilla.
lost
What's
Oh,
his
yeah,
name?
let's do it.
Harambe.
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 19-year-old or 20.
17.
17?
Yeah. Not even an adult yet. The poor teenager.
No.
A harmless.
He was a big silverback. He was a dominant male
okay,
gorilla.
Come on, harmless teenager.
So, obviously, little 3 or 4
He was
year
just
old
on his way to get some juice.
falls into a gorilla enclosure.
Right.
The male gorilla grabs him, pulls him around, tosses him around, hugs him. I will love him and kiss him and hold him. And so it took a while for the response team to get there, and they decided that they didn't want to tranquilize him because the fear was it would take too long to react. And, listen, and the possibility was that he could have passed out on the child, which the video I saw was in a water, like a canal.
Right.
It was a water
Yeah.
part of the exhibit.
Yeah.
And it was a foot deep or whatever. But if the gorilla fell on the child, the gorilla could have drowned as well as the child. Even if the gorilla fell on him on dry land, could have suffocated him. So they were
crushed him
concerned.
or whatever. Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a heavy gorilla.
So they wanted to save the child's life.
Yeah, but the gorilla was just being a father figure for this poor kid, right? I mean, he was just playing with him.
Actually, that's
Well,
even
you
if that were
ever
true.
seen a gorilla play with its own young?
Yeah, they're pretty rough.
Yeah.
Especially males.
Yeah.
They don't typically like little ones
Right.
as much as the females do. Now,
because they're annoying.
The thing is, they don't know their own strength. They're incredibly muscular.
They've got 4 hands.
They're incredibly strong. And he could have tossed that kid around for hours.
Yeah.
So they killed Harambe and saved the little boy, right?
Which is, it's sad, right? I
Very
mean,
sad. Kind of endangered or at least threatened. It's sad.
Yeah,
Now,
but
on the other hand, human life you would want to place above that of
Well,
even an endangered.
humans aren't an endangered species,
No,
though.
but
I mean,
still.
we have a population issue.
Right. If you want to be cold about it, we could kill half our humans, and there are people on the left that believe that.
Yeah, they never volunteer to be first to help solve the problem.
We discussed off air where if I hear somebody say,
I don't know if I would discuss that. But go ahead.
I think humans are terrible and they're destroying the planet, and I wish they were all dead. I would hand them my revolver and say, "Go first."
Uh-huh.
And then you said very wisely, she would probably shoot you instead of herself. Or herself, or his self.
I didn't say don't do it.
I know you didn't. I know you didn't. I noticed that too.
Yeah, yeah. They never volunteer. But
Thank you.
Anyway, continue.
Well, and so it's pointed out that there was a school bus driver who injures 20 kids when they, and I don't know if it's male or female, when they swerve to avoid hitting a cat. Ran the bus into a house.
Did they hit the cat?
They saved the cat, but 20 kids, many with broken bones.
But did they die?
They didn't die.
This gorilla died.
But I think the point was that
I call that a win-win.
Here we are trying to save a friggin' cat, and we injure 20 human beings.
I mean,
we save the life of one and kill a non-human.
I take the gorilla over a cat any day.
But what was interesting was that the media coverage of the gorilla was like 50 times more than the 69 shootings in Chicago over the Memorial Weekend.
Well, I will tell you, I on especially the national media didn't hear about a single shooting in Chicago.
I didn't either.
Heard about the gorilla every other minute.
Right. So I think 50 is a low estimate.
Yeah. No, I get it. Look, I understand being upset about the gorilla. It is sad. It's an endangered,
a beautiful, intelligent,
it didn't
smart
necessarily
primate.
choose to be in the zoo there.
It's related, closely to humans. I
Yeah,
get it.
I get it.
But on the other hand,
Yeah,
it's a human being, and
yep,
we really should try to err on the side of protecting human life.
Absolutely. No, I think part of the problem here is that these zoos, people hate seeing an animal in a cage, right?
Right, and
so the zoos are crafted in a way so it looks all natural and it doesn't look like they're in a cage. It's open air, and so apparently a 4-year-old can get in.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's the problem. And it's the same people that are upset that the gorilla died because of this that are screaming about an animal being in a cage. Right?
Well, you could make the argument that we shouldn't have zoos at all, right?
Okay.
I mean, that's a
okay.
legitimate argument.
And I don't necessarily have a problem with that. I think zoos are educational. There are a lot of benefits to zoos other than just a fun weekend with the family.
Right.
But
some of the big zoos, do a lot of breeding of endangered species. They do research. They fund research. They do all kinds of stuff. But I think if you're going to err on the side of human life and not gorilla life.
Yep.
All right. It's approaching summer, as you so rudely pointed out. Not quite there. The left ventricle of summer is approaching, and it's only like 18 days away, right? It's about the 20th.
It is. It's approximately June 20th. Will be the first day
Well,
of
the
summer.
summer solstice varies, a day or so.
It's
there.
June 20th.
28, 21. It can be.
Okay,
It goes
just-
back for it.
Come on.
Okay, so love lemonade, right?
I do love lemonade.
A good, fresh, homemade lemonade is really good. Lots of ice. Refreshing. If you sell it on the Capitol lawn, you get put in handcuffs and carted away. And I guess the point is they didn't have a permit to vend for food. They couldn't charge. The police that were there said, you can give it away, but they were selling it for 10 cents a glass.
10 cents a piece. So the difference between being left alone by the police officers and being violently taken away, having violence used against you, is 10 cents a glass.
Is 10 cents. Yeah, just 10 cents. One instance could do it. And if you look at the video that I looked at, the female officer was not very nice.
No.
And she kept shoving her hand and trying to grab the camera.
Well, she did hit it.
She did
move
grab
it
and pull it down and said, stop filming us, and you have every right to film public servants conducting their business, right? She didn't need to do that, and she knew that she looked bad, and she knew that it wasn't going to look good on YouTube. So she was frustrated and took it out on the camera person, which was a bad mistake. But what they did do is they ended up arresting a few people for doing this. Now, the people set this up on purpose.
Sure.
It wasn't like a couple of kids out there selling lemonade on the Capitol lawn. It was indeed done to entice this kind of reaction. But the point is, where does having a permit and having a right and where the two come together?
Well, I'd say...
And who decides and how much do you pay for the permit and all kinds of things.
Look, the permits are cheap, right? And I'd say that if you're doing this on public land, somebody has to pay for the upkeep of that land. And so if you're producing profit, don't you think that you are obligated to pay for the upkeep of that property that you're using? Through the tax of buying a permit.
Well, this is both permits and licensing kind of things, right?
Yeah,
you're getting
what's
a
the
license.
difference?
And I will tell you, having helped organize an event on the Capitol Mall at the Washington Monument, that it would be unlikely that they would have gotten any kind of permit to do that. And if they did, it would have taken months and months and months to go through all of the the hoops
Sure, and
to get a permit.
And they couldn't afford it at 10 cents a glass, right? Well, I mean, so if they really did want to do this, they'd have to raise their prices.
But the story goes beyond this because they do this even if you're on your own property.
Right.
We have many cases where little kids are shut down because they don't have a city permit.
Where the whole ridiculous argument about, well, the permit goes to pay for the grass to be mowed and all this other garbage doesn't apply because unless I let my grass grow too long and it violates an ordinance, the city's not mowing my lawn.
And that's another issue about what you can do in your own property, right?
Uh-huh.
And we talked a long time ago on a show where the woman was fighting having to have a license and going to basically college for a year to braid hair.
Right.
She won that finally.
Yeah.
But it's getting ridiculous.
Yeah, it's horrible.
So we can move on from that.
I want to talk about the kid. He was, what I heard, he was attacking the wildlife and the neighbors with an axe.
Yeah, that wasn't exactly how I heard it.
That wasn't it? He wasn't murdering people?
This was in Elmhurst, Chicago area, suburb of Chicago, Elmhurst, Illinois, when a teen boy was out chopping some dead wood to make a fort, like I did.
So you mean this teenager during the left ventricle of summer was outside doing something?
Right. And actually building something, having fun, learning something.
He probably should have been watching TV.
Or playing video games or something
that's what
else.
I'm thinking.
Certainly. He was out chopping wood. Somebody was concerned. Of course, it's always this concerned person. And the police always say we have to follow up on calls like that.
Well, cool. Drive by.
And yeah, right. And say, oh, it's a kid out having fun, like we used to do in the summer all the time.
Uh-huh.
It's like what I say when they say, well, they have to call by. So if I said, hey, I see a black man on the sidewalk pushing a stroller with a baby in it. Can you come by and check him out because he might be a pedophile?
Right.
And are the police going to come and check that out?
Well, they have to, Brian.
Probably not.
They have to.
So it's crap. So anyways, he had an axe and he had a machete and some kind of roofer's axe, which I'm not sure that's a smaller axe with a nail puller outer or whatever, because I'm up on all that kind of stuff. Anyways, they took it and said, "Who's your mama?"
Yeah, I mean,
and daddy, and they didn't do anything to the kid. They took his stuff and they dropped him off at home and gave the axes. Probably lectured the parents.
Yeah, but I mean, the idea is he wasn't doing anything wrong, right? And the next time he thinks about going outside to play or to build something,
right,
or to do something productive,
he'll think twice about that.
He's going to think twice, and he's going to say, "Nah, probably just go play Call of Duty for a while."
Yeah, or Grand Theft Auto,
right? Because you're all up on that too, right? Like the axe with the nail puller outer thing.
Yeah,
That's
the official term for it.
Which Grand Theft Auto is your favorite?
Probably the original.
It's a good one. It's a good one. That's not too bad.
How was that?
They're all pretty good.
Was that?
No, it was clever.
Good.
Yeah,
okay.
clever.
All right.
What? Flushing?
I could have said the last one.
So really quick, we have a minute.
Oh my goodness, Flushing, Michigan. That's near Flint. An 18-year-old was suspended from school because he wore a T-shirt that said, "Keep calm, carry guns." They asked him to take the T-shirt off, and he refused and said, "It's my First Amendment right." The assistant principal suspended him and said his shirt was inappropriate and promoted weapons and violence.
Yeah, because they do have a dress code that says you can't wear clothing that promotes violence.
Right, but I don't know what kind of stretch they have there.
Yeah, well, so very quickly they put out a statement that said, yeah, we recognize and respect the rights of all students and families, including First Amendment and free expression. Our dress code policy, as currently written and implemented as it related to this situation, was in error. They apologized. They said, we'll be clarifying this with the family. We'll be meeting with them. And then they said this, which is peculiar. As we enter the Memorial Day weekend and honor those who have sacrificed their lives, it is fitting to reaffirm our commitment to upholding all constitutional rights, including that of free speech.
So from that article, I wasn't sure whether they rescinded the suspension.
They did.
Oh,
yes,
okay.
they did. I don't know why you weren't sure. It was very clear in the article that I posted that they did rescind the suspension.
yeah.
What I'm saying is they're upholding all constitutional rights. Do we know anybody that's, I don't know, like open carried in the school?
Yeah, lots.
In Flushing?
Oh, I don't know about Flushing.
This particular school that says they are committed to upholding all constitutional rights.
But we have a court order from Clio School, which is Genesee County, which is where they hold that you can open carry in school.
Yeah, so?
I'm just saying.
The law says you can, but that doesn't stop schools from harassing people.
Right. But the law decision on this county, they
All right.
can't
Well,
stop
we're out
you.
of time. See you next week.
All right, bye-bye.